What is happening over there? Oh, why is it coming closer? Oh, God!
Ugh, my head. What? Oh my God, it wasn't lying. I'm like, actually here. This is surreal. I shouldn't let anyone see me though. Aha! This looks like a good place to hide out. Oh, hey! Didn't expect to see you guys here. Guess you took the ship too? Well, since we're both here, I guess we can take a tour of the place. The only way I know how. Murder Drones is an indie animated series directed by Liam Vickers and made by Glitch Productions. The show is about these scraggly little robots combating the eldritch horrors mankind has wrought upon the entire universe. How fun! It's also been my biggest hyperfixation for the past year. Like, I don't know if I've spent more money on merch for any other franchise. And why, yes, I am indeed neurotypical, thank you for asking. The merch thing is kind of a problem, but any good problem gets put off for the time being. Today is also the 1-year anniversary of the show's finale, so to celebrate, I'm gonna be ranking all the episodes of Murder Drones from least favorite to favorite. My ranking criteria for these episodes include the attributes that I feel make a memorable Murder Drones episode: animation or visual style, action, narrative, character moments, funnies, and the soundtrack as a supplemental cherry on top. All of these attributes will be scored out of 5, and the sum of all the points together will make a percentage of how I feel about the episode overall. Please keep in mind that this ranking is just my opinion. If you disagree with my take on the show, just be civil about it. If I see any flame wars about anything, I'm going to delete your comment and you will be very embarrassed and or sad. Also, this video is going to include full spoilers for the entire show, so go watch it if you haven't already. The more Murder Drones brainworms, the better, I say. Anyway, that's enough preamble. Let's get to the ranking. I guess it would be fitting to record each entry in its own location, right? Yeah, I'll head on over to Outpost 3. I think it's over there. One unnecessary stealth mission later. Alright, we're here. So, I have to come clean. Murder Drones does start out a little rough. It's not that it starts out bad, by no means, no. It's just that it doesn't really stack up with the rest of the show by comparison. And that's why this one ended up at the bottom. Okay, look, I know this sounds bad, but let me explain. Oh, no. He's sipping my water after that. Okay, now that that's done with. Episode 2 is where Uzi and N head back to Outpost 3, only to find Jay back from the dead as this abominable beast. There's also this weird and kooky program called the Absolute Solver that's responsible for Jay's transformation. And that's where this episode kinda loses me. It's the explanation of the solver. To be fair, this can be a criticism for the whole show rather than this specific episode. But this is when the audience is first introduced to it, and all the future uses of the solver will have them think back to this episode as their main reference point. That reference point being not exactly the best, as it takes some mental gymnastics to put the consume all things, Eldritch Abomination, and telekinetic not murder drone powers together. The show doesn't even really do anything more with disassembly drones being taken over by the Solver. Aside from one interaction in episode 6, which amounts to just, yep, these guys sure do exist. Does something that'll basically never be brought up in the series again sound like a good point of reference for the audience? I don't think so. Still, having Sin and the Solver in the first place gives this episode its points in the narrative department, as, you know, it's introducing the show's main villain. The animation is a significant improvement of its predecessor for sure, but still outdone by all those that follow it. I do also dig the dark, almost grungy take on Outpost 3 this episode has. Almost as if it has a dark underbelly where only the most monstrous of beasts reside. This really helps sell the horror aspect of this episode, which for the show's first true shot at horror, it ain't bad. Especially how they play with the lighting for N's missile revealing the twisting, undulating mass that is Eldritch J. Eldritch J's design is super fucking raw. Like, look at the concept art. This has Monster by Skillet written all over it, and I love it! One of the best villain designs in the whole series for me personally. But the horror also comes at a price. That being the funny. Something you'll see a lot in fandom discourse about the show, actually. Heartbeat's comedic moments are definitely there, but they don't hit as hard as the rest of the series. Except for N's apology drawing, that is probably the funniest part of the episode to me. The lack of action I can forgive, as the show hadn't really dipped its toes into that yet. That'll start in the episode after. There's also not a lot of big character moments either. The only one really being Uzi and N splitting up at the end of the episode. By the way, Khan's fake death was ass! Like, it was so forgettable, I completely forgot about it when I rewatched the series for the first time. This episode has the most forgettable soundtrack in the series as well, with no tracks being real standouts to me. All this together makes an episode that's still good, but also leaves a bit to be desired, especially when compared to the rest of the show. Ugh, these cryopods give me the creeps. We should move on to the next episode.
Interesting. Unexpected life form. New cute puppet to play with. Heidi Heidi.
Ah yes, the fabled Doors of Legend. Wish I could get to meet the man who made these, but still gotta lay low for now. Anyway, here's the slightly better part of Murder Drones' rough opening. The episode that started it all. Without this, we wouldn't have the peak fiction we have today. Uzi Dorman, local worker drone right out of Hot Topic, decides to rebel against her dad by leaving to go kill the monsters that forced her people into hiding. Only to find out that one of them doesn't really dig the whole murder shtick and is basically forced to by his peers in the company. Finding a potential way off the planet, she teams up with N to defeat the other, weirdly hot, homicide robots. Narrative is the hardest hitter for this one, which makes sense. We're getting introduced to the main conflict, the world, and the characters. Characters like N, the best boy you could possibly ask for, but also kind of a freakazoid, while also having impeccable riz, just like yours truly. V, the totally not mentally unstable murder drone who's also 100% perfect wife material. Get you a woman who will force feed you your own entrails like that. Relationship goals for real. And finally, J, Miss Corporate Pen Lover who is also Murder Jones's resident jobber. So much so that even the show itself admits it. No hate for J though, I think she is pretty cool. Anyway, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room. The animation. Like, I get it. It's the pilot. They were trying to see if this show would be worth the effort. And of course the animation wouldn't be up to snuff with the rest of the series. But that still doesn't change the fact that this is the weakest animation in the series, bar none. Still, the visual style of Copper 9 does look really nice despite the dated animation, which prevents the score from getting any lower. Same lack of action as episode 2 once again, they hadn't even really tried that yet, but the fight scene at the end was pretty alright. The comedic bits in this episode are fairly good. Not any true knee slappers, but my daughter is into doors! Sure, I love doing anything. And the teacher in general are pretty funny. Also, the teacher is voiced by Liam Vickers if you didn't know. Seeing En and Uzi slowly warm up to each other by the end of the episode gives a lot of character moment stock, as well as just introducing the characters in general. That is done very well. Soundtrack is pretty good as well, with Murder Drones and Uzi the Drone Killer being my two favorites. Overall, a fairly solid episode that would definitely benefit the most if it were reanimated by the Murder Drones team today. But I don't want that to actually happen. The episode is fine as it is. Where do I go next? Wait, what's that sound?
No, wait, please! I have a wife and kids! No, 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 no!
Is it weird that I kind of wish that was me? We should probably get moving. Ugh, where am I? Oh, how the hell did I end up here? Well, since I'm here, somehow, might as well talk about the next episode. In episode 5 of the show, Uzi, and I guess me as well now, hacks into En and V's memories of them working in the Elliott Manor with the spooky tape En found in the last episode, in order to reclaim their memories and save them from being factory reset by their solver programming. On the way, they also find out what horrid monstrosities lie beneath the manor's floorboards. The murderous goober who loves mangoes as much as the oil of her compatriots, Sin. You see that little summary of the episode I just gave? That was likely a better and more concise explanation than the actual episode. And that's probably why this episode is the fandom's least favorite as a whole. But don't fact check me on that, I'm only like 74% sure. But that raises the question, why isn't this my least favorite? We'll get to that, but first we gotta rip off the band-aid. Yes, this episode is very poorly explained. I still really didn't know how Uzi was hacking into their memories in the first place until like my third or fourth rewatch, which is not a good thing. The lack of explanation docks some points in the narrative department, but still, this episode being so jam-packed with lore keeps it from going any lower. Character moments are scarce, aside from you-know-who, we'll get to her in a bit. The only standout moments being Uzi and Manor N's interactions, especially the setup for episode 7, you know the one. Also Uzi giving up the key bug in order to save her friends, that was pretty raw. Comedy is almost to the episode's detriment here, as it kind of undermines N's traumatic backstory, a decision that Glitch Productions decided to sort of retcon later on, which was a good move in my opinion. Action is almost disappointing in how little there is, especially because at this point the Murder Drones team has shown that they can do action sequences, which they did do a little here, but it's just not anything special, and it's so short too. All that hubbub in this isn't my least favorite somehow? Well, it kind of really is just vibes for me. Sorry. I love the aesthetic of the Elliott Manor in this episode. This Victorian mansion with oil and robotic viscera hidden in plain sight. Oh man, I can't get enough of this place. Said beautiful aesthetic is wonderfully complemented by the star of the episode, Sin. In this episode, she strikes the perfect balance of being adorably silly and horrifyingly unpredictable. The way she deadpan speaks, how she narrates her own actions, the way she moves around like a puppet on invisible strings, and just those unsettling, piercing yellow eyes that can change into an all too familiar symbol. This episode also has what I believe to be the most underrated soundtrack in the whole show. Like Crisscross Applesauce and especially Gentle are absolutely goated, but I don't hear anybody talk about them at all, which is a damn shame. Speaking of, that cliffhanger ending is diabolical, but I didn't have to wait for the next episode, so it's just kind of funny to me. Anyway, this one's very conflicting to me. On one hand, we have the episode's story being barely explained at all, a disappointing amount of action, and the funniest part of the episode being its abrupt cliffhanger ending. But on the other hand, we have one of the best visual styles in the whole show, the most underrated soundtrack out of all the episodes, and
Relevant giggle. You are not supposed to be here. How fun. Grab.
No. Wait. Can we, talk this out? Or, maybe over some tea, maybe?
Uninvited guests do not get tea time. Goodbye, new friend.
Whoa! I'm alive? And I'm back on Copper 9? Okay, I don't know how I survived, but I'm here, so, next entry, go. Now we're getting to the point where the episodes start to get real good. Woohoo! I'm excited. In episode 4, Uzi and Co. go to investigate Camp 98.7, a place where her mom and maybe her new solver powers are closely related to. But during her investigation, Uzi starts to lose control of her solver powers without sufficient oil, eventually becoming a monster not unlike those she intended to kill in the very beginning. But don't worry, N is here to come to the rescue. And yeah, I'm gonna be real, this scene is the best part of the episode, and one of, if not the best character moments in the whole show. N and Uzi falling out of the sky and opening up to each other after so much bloodshed, and the latter expressing her fears about N leaving her. It really does tug on the heartstrings, especially with the music during this scene, Falling for You. It's genuinely such a beautiful scene, man. The scene has also helped me through tough times personally. Whenever I feel down on myself, I sometimes play either the music or the whole scene to help reassure myself that, yeah, things will get better. Would right now be one of those times? I mean, I'm stuck on a hostile alien planet littered with walking death traps that I know would show no hesitation, with no conceivable way of returning home. I think I need to go for a second. Be right back.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
My foot's cramping! No! This wasn't part of the script!
Okay, I'm better now. This episode also has other good parts, like the comedic depth. I don't know why, but the funny bits in this episode really get me. And they don't even sacrifice the dark tone of the episode, at least for me anyway. This episode also has some really cool foreshadowing for episodes to come. Still do not know how they were able to get away with that. To be fair though, they also hid something like that in plain sight in the Copper 9 poster. But I'm getting sidetracked. One part of the episode that stuck with me since my first viewing of the show was when V came to threaten Uzi in the cabin. When she said that N's made friends with rocks, I fully believed her and thought, oh shit, would N actually not care if V killed her? Which I know sounds stupid to any Murder Drones fan, which yes, hi, I'm stupid. But yeah, that moment in particular stuck with me for a good bit, giving this episode even more points and character moments. This episode as a whole is an awesome homage to classic slasher movies, final girl tropes and all, including a questionably sentient final girl guidebook that probably shouldn't be thought about too much. Speaking of slashers, Solver Uzi's introduction scene is both genuinely a little frightening, but also goes hard as hell. Much better horror execution than episode 2, yet still not the best in the series. On that topic, the only reason why this one's ranked relatively low is that, with the exception of En and Uzi's therapy session, the rest of the episodes are just better. Better action, better narrative prominence, better animation, etc. I'd like to consider this one the jack of all trades of the series. It's good all around, with one shining spectacular scene that makes it stand out. Now, how to get back to Outpost 3? Bus tracks! Just what I needed. They look fresh too, so this should lead me right to it. Ah! Huh, guess my hands can just float around like that. Neat! Well, see you guys on the next entry. I wonder if I can wave at Jay in the sky with this. I don't think that would be too bad to do, right? Man, this place is way too easy to sneak into. No wonder Uzi was able to get in and out so easily. Consider yourself washed, Mr. Dorman. Now then, we've been through a lot together. Mostly stuff that I'd consider repressed, but that's neither here nor there. Now that we're here, and hopefully out of sight from anything dangerous, let's talk about the crowning jewel of Murder Drones' first half. That, of course, being... Oh man, this episode is so good! After En and Uzi's separation in episode 2, Doll has been taking out the prom royalty as part of her revenge plan to kill V. But her plan ends up being foiled by the worker-disassembler duo coming in clutch like always. And then we get this sick-as-hell fight scene, yeah! Yeah, this is when the episodes start getting real good action. The choreography between Uzi and En fighting Doll being so clean it would make a magic eraser blush. Speaking of Doll, this is the only episode where she has an actual character, at least in my opinion. In other episodes, she either just feels like a souped-up obstacle for the heroes to overcome, or she takes up Jay's shift of being the jobber right at the end. But here, she actually feels like a character, being almost unsettlingly calm and collected given her circumstances. She even gets an actual comedic moment. Her personality, aspects of her design, and her motive as well makes her a sick parallel to Uzi, making for an amazing potential rival. Did they do anything with that potential? Nope. But hey, at least in this episode, Doll gets her flowers. And that's what mainly gets this episode the narrative points. However, I do have a teeny tiny gripe with the narrative of this episode. And that's V and Lizzie's friendship just coming out of nowhere and being barely explained. I mean, yeah, it can be implied because V's chain was broken at the end of episode 2, but at least one scene beforehand to clue the audience in that V and Lizzie might be friends would have sufficed. But really, that's the only problem I have with this episode. Everything else is really good. Seeing the first glimpse of En and Uzi's friendship potentially becoming something more, with them going to prom together, makes this episode solid in character moments. Comedic bits are pretty good all around. I particularly enjoy Doll's because that's the only comedic scene she gets in the show, aside from being dead. And the soundtrack, oh my god, the soundtrack! The 1-2 punch of Get Prommed, and especially the knife dance, is the highlight of the soundtrack's first volume for me. But I really just wish Knife Dance was longer, like this fan-made extended version I'm playing right now. That would give a lot more points to Volume 1 of the soundtrack, said volume being number 3 in the rankings of the soundtrack volumes. Yes, this is a ranking within a ranking. Buckle up, bozo! Anyway, this episode is what I consider to be the gold standard of the series. If I like an episode less than this one, it's either really good or just kinda good. And if I like an episode more than this one, then we've entered the domain of peak fiction. Still, I would completely understand if someone told me this was their favorite episode. It's just that good. Speaking of peak fiction, that's where we'll be heading right now. Oh, fuck. Bite me! Haha, yes! Here we are, the final destination. Sin has the entirety of Copper 9 and the whole cast in the palm of her hand, and it's up to En and Uzi to save the galaxy. But along the way, we find out that V is alive! Woo! Let's fucking go! I will keep saying this until the day I die, but this moment, right here, the amount of sheer hype I felt watching this for the first time surpasses most Smash reveals for me. I genuinely thought V was dead after watching episode 6 for the first time, but nearly a year later, here she is, back and better than ever before. This is why V is my fucking GOAT. Not only does she survive a pack of robot Dromaeosaurs, but she also rides into battle with the one she beat in a sword fight, commemorating the one who gave his life to save her with his cowboy hat. Speaking of Sparky, best character by the way, don't at me, this episode is actually really funny when it comes to its comedic moments. Mainly because Sparky is just the king of comedy, but there's also just Doll being straight up dead. That scene is genuinely so disrespectful to fans of Doll, but I'm not gonna lie, I straight up burst out laughing when it happened because it was just so abrupt and nonchalant. I also think this episode is the best at balancing horror and comedy, because while at points I was laughing my ass off, at other points I was actually genuinely frightened, because Sin in this episode is the absolute peak of Murder Drones' horror elements. The way she slinks around with way too expressive a face, her design being the perfect uncanny valley in between for robotic and humanoid, and her voice being able to send genuine chills down your spine. Seriously, shoutouts to everyone who helped make this monster come to life and steal the show for the episode. And steal the show she does, always having the upper hand against the heroes, even having Jay join her side as another pawn in her twisted game of chess. When I watched this episode for the first time, I had never felt so much fear for a character's fictional life. I genuinely thought En or Uzi was going to die, and I was watching with bated breath the whole way through, because En and Uzi finally had their confirmation that they were together, and to have one of them die right after would be heartbreaking. Speaking of which, character moments are great here, with the falling with you scene being an amazing evolution of En and Uzi's therapy session in episode 4. As well as V finally opening up to En about how scared she was about revealing the truth, expressing crushing amounts of sorrow for how she treated him for most of the show. Oh yeah, and did I mention a realistic depiction of a panic attack? For real though, this scene is very well done, and also genuinely horrifying. Like, look at this dude. What the fuck? Anyway, here we are, the final battle, and oh my god, this fight is so sick! As someone who chronically watched Sonic Nazo Unleashed and Super Mario Bros. Z in their youth, I can appreciate a goated fight scene. And this one is definitely up there as one of the greats. The fight choreography in this is buttery smooth and kinetic, with Uzi and Sin's null spheres clashing as the opener, Uzi going for a home run with Jay's head, Sin seriously getting into Uzi's head with her holograms, only to have her friends come and clutch and save her just in time. And then the main three come together and the music ramps up and oh my god! Another thing that makes this fight peak fiction is the music. Bite Me alone was enough to get this episode a 5 in the music department. Genuinely the hardest banger in the entire series, not even a contest. This, as well as Eternal Destroyer, are the biggest highlights for Volume 3 of the soundtrack for me, which brings it up to number 2 on the album ranking. Gee, I sure do wonder what number 1's gonna be. So yeah, peak action, peak music, great character moments, stunning animation, and real knee slappers. What does this episode not have? Oh, it's over. Huh. Yeah, there's a big ol' elephant in the room that needs addressing when it comes to this episode, and it's the ending. The end of this episode is insanely rushed. Some would even say unfinished. It was really cool that they did a callback to the first episode with Uzi giving a presentation, having N and V be part of her classroom now, but then it just cuts to credits with a perfectly cut scream gag. Which, yeah, the credits do show how the characters are doing after this whole conflict was resolved, but it's just not enough. If the stills in the credits were actual fully animated scenes with maybe some background narration from Uzi, the ending would have felt a lot more conclusive. If the episode had a conclusive ending that wrapped everything up in a nice little bow after the hardest this show has ever gone, it would be the best episode by far. But it didn't. So it just leaves us with peak fiction that goes for the world record in ending the story as soon as it's over. Okay, 2 more entries to go. How do I get down from here?
Fashionably late entrance.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Grab 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Again with the claw? Why are you after me anyway? Don't you have an emo grape to die to?
Giggle. You cannot hide what you are from me, outsider. Or, pardon my manners, Meat Master.
How do you know my name?
Meeting you in Big Brother's memories let me see into yours. Very convenient. But I do not have the whole picture. I have yet to know about the world you come from. So, let's make a deal. You stay with me to extract your delicious information.
What? Hell no!
Rewording previous phrase. You do not wish to be seen by those lowly creatures, do you?
Yeah, I guess.
They will find out about you, one way or another, and they will likely kill you. You can serve a much greater purpose as part of the exponential end. Expectant Lear. So what will it be, Meat Master?
You know, I'd much rather die at the hands of those 3 than ever perish to your filthy claws. Because at least I'll have solace after death, and not be recycled into some monster to cause more death and destruction.
Eye roll. Too bad, you don't have a choice. Goodbye again, new friend.
It seems our little memory link left out one extra detail.
Question mark.
Before you kill me, I just have one more nugget of information I think you'd like to hear. Detachable hands. Holy shit, that actually worked!
Neat trick, but it will take a lot more than that to... God fucking damn it.
Phew! You're a lifesaver, Mr. Dorman, but I gotta get out of here. Hey, Uzi! Good luck out there. And go kick some ass, okay? So, before I decided to do this whole video, my favorite Murder Drones episode was a tie between this and number 1. And it was pretty damn hard to split that tie because each episode has its own strengths and merits personally to me. This one being the episode that actually made me a true fan of the series. But eventually, after many rewatches, I split the tie, with number 1 being my personal favorite, and this being what I think is the objective best Murder Drones episode of all time. And that episode is... In episode 7, the show is at its absolute darkest, both in visual style and in narrative. Having our main duo be split for most of the episode, with them each learning the deepest, darkest secrets of their past. But it also turns out that Uzi's mom is alive, and has a patch to save Uzi from being taken over by the Solver, which doesn't end up going too well. Anyway, as I said before, the visual style of this episode is the show's darkest, with the Cabin Fever Cathedral being an amazing set piece for both the flashback and the final fight, which we will get to, don't worry. Yet, despite this episode's dark tone, there are still some moments that get me to laugh, like Mitchell's intern Aura and interactions with no-nonsense Yeva, and especially En's perfectly cut scream gag and confession to Nori. Those caught me so off guard when I first watched this, and still make me laugh till this day. Of course, it's not the funniest the show has to offer, because it's not that kind of episode, but still, what it does do with the funnies is some good shit. Amazing character moments here as well. Just like the episode before it, Uzi and En's relationship is tested to the fullest with them splitting up at the beginning, due to a deadly combo of manipulation and failure of communication. And while they're apart, they both go through the emotional wringer of learning their backstories. En's in particular is simply brutal, realizing that he and his comrades were massacring the human race while the Solver destroyed the planet from the inside out. In fact, En is the best he's ever been in this episode, learning to not take any shit from Tessa, even after reliving the sins of his past, just to save the one he loves. But when the two drones finally reunite after all that trauma, it's too late. The Solver has taken over Uzi and destroyed the only way of fixing her. Now En and Nori duke it out with Uzi, and oh my god, this fight scene is pure gas! Only outdone by the bombastic Nightcore AMV final fight of the episode after. As opposed to that one, this fight scene feels a lot more dramatic, in a good way. Like you can feel En's hesitation to kill Uzi, which the Solver gleefully plays with on multiple occasions. And when En and Nori retake the offensive on Uzi and the two of them dance like in the promenade, it's so good! But the one thing that stands out to me the most for this episode is its final grand reveal after En and Uzi reunite. The reveal of Sinessa will forever be one of the biggest twists to any story I've ever seen. I didn't even understand what this creature was at first. I thought it was some weird murder drone human hybrid. Yes, I was indeed that stupid. But as I dug deeper and watched the lore videos, I realized... oh shit. That's Sin wearing Tessa's dead body as a skin suit! That's both genuinely morbid, but also metal as fuck. Like it's literally an inverse Springtrap situation. That's so sick! Figuring this out, and the sheer shock of the final revelation, in combination with her star performance in Absolute End, makes Sin, or the Absolute Solver, one of my favorite Murder Drones characters, as well as one of my favorite animated villains of all time. She's such a pleasure to watch on screen, both in the manner and as the corpse suit bearer. Just pure galactic level evil for the love of the game, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Anyway, time to move on to the final entry.
Third time's the charm. No survivors.
What? How are you alive? Wait, where are the others?
They are where they belong, as one with the Absolute Fabric, and you will join them soon.
What? No. That's impossible.
Relishing, maybe if you helped them with your knowledge, they would have survived.
Fuck. Alright, Robo Satan. Let's dance. Alright. Let's move on to number 1. So, let me tell you a story. Remember how I said Mass Destruction was the episode that made me a fan? Well, I had still watched the show before that. It was early November, 2023. Glitch's new show, Digital Circus, was booming in popularity, and I was a really big fan of it. Around the same time, Moro, shout out to the GOAT, was going to release a Murder Drones vs. Hell of a Boss animation, which is absolutely fire, by the way. Check it out if you haven't already. And both of those factors coming together led me to watch Murder Drones for the first time on a cold autumn night. I had watched the entire series up to that point, and the last episode I watched during that binge was... Oh, you already know what it is. Just play the song.
Can you set me free? Will you take my soul away?
Of course this one is my favorite. It has the most robot dinosaurs in it after all. Okay, that's not like my full reasoning as to why it's my favorite, but it does play a role in that. In episode 6, Tessa joins the crew and they go to find the secret elevator in the Cabin Fever labs. Along the way, they find sadistic scrapyard hillbillies, tailor-made drone killer robo-raptors, and the truth about Earth's fate. That particular scene being an amazing case study in how to effectively raise stakes, showing the sheer cosmic power of the Solver left unchecked, which, along with finding out Nori was a very effective host for the Solver, gives this episode its flowers in the narrative department. I like how this episode takes things considerably slower than the rest of the pack, really letting you take in the oppressive atmosphere of the labs. Speaking of which, the visual style for this episode is fantastic, with these liminal space-esque cubicles and industrial open areas with murder drone gore scattered about. This is also the first episode that really throws a bomb into En and Uzi's relationship, with him being faced with the dilemma of keeping Uzi or the entire universe safe. Of course, this is absolute malarkey coming from the absolute silver tongue of the Solver, but neither En nor the viewer at this point in the show know that. Tessa's argument seems pretty sound at this point in the show, especially with the Solver starting to have its full grip on Uzi. The manipulation at work here is palpable, and the effect it has on En and Uzi's relationship is immediate and worrying, giving it a great score with character moments. The lowest score this episode gets is for funnies, which, yeah, there are some pretty funny moments. Mainly everything involving Bo, except for his sacrifice, he was such a Giga Chad for that, as well as the movements of the drone sentinels, which worked dutifully well in Tessa's botched audition to be the next Owen Grady. Trust me, you are not him, little sis. Also, the random posters in the cubicles got some chuckles out of me, despite or maybe even complimentary to the oppressive atmosphere. But now, we get to the best part of the episode, the very end. There may not be a whole lot of action in this episode, but this scene right here is genuinely my favorite action scene in the whole show. Another reason why V is my GOAT. She absolutely kicks ass in a sword fight against a robot Dromaeosaur with hammer space. Seriously, whoever helped this scene become a reality, I don't care how many of you there are, I want all of your autographs. Yet, despite V's best efforts, the number of Sentinels proves too much, and there's only one thing left to do. Yes, I know the fact that V survives this lessens the impact of the scene, but I've been thinking about it for a while now, and the thing is, I really don't care. I know it definitely doesn't hit the same for most, but I am not most people. Maybe because it was the last thing I saw in my first Murder Drones binge, and I have some sort of nostalgic attachment to it. Either way, V's not sacrifice still hits for me, and I'm tired of pretending it doesn't. Now I wonder, did she survive up there? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's move on. The music in this scene plays a huge role in why I'm still invested in it because, yeah, Eternal Dream is my favorite song in the series, without question. No song on planet Earth has made me cry as consistently as Eternal Dream has. And all those situations were in completely different contexts, too. Just look at the impact this song had on the community as a whole. So many fans, and even voice actors for the show, were posting their own covers of Eternal Dream. You don't get that kind of magic by accident. And, as corny as it sounds, that's how I'd describe Eternal Dream. Truly ascendant and magical. And yes, Eternal Dream, along with the underrated Episode 5 tunes, and Episode 4's Solidarity as a whole, puts Volume 2 of the soundtrack as my absolute favorite. Murder Drones has been a mainstay in my life ever since I started college 2 years ago. This episode, and the song along with it, marks where it all began for me. And I just kind of find that beautiful, man. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's never that easy, ain't it? Well, let's just get this over with. Alright, what do you want from me? Oh my god, you're alive! I'm so sorry I left you all up there with her. I should have told you everything.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, buddy.
Yeah, sorry. Probably deserved.
Yo, Uzi, found that weirdo you wanted to find.
Oh, perfect. Now I can explain my situation to all of you. You can put me down, though. I don't plan on going anywhere.
Nah, you look funnier upside down.
Figures. Just gonna let all the blood flow to my head, then. Wait, how would that work? I don't have a neck.
Would you like me to do that manually, then?
Maybe later in the spirit of youthful experimentation.
Wait, what?
Oh, hey guys.
Don't play friendly with me, human.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real, I don't really know what I am. You can blame that weird YouTube-looking guy for this. That guy was a dick.
Whatever. And thanks, V, for not killing something for once. Especially when we need them for information. So, human-like thingy, I've acquired some information about you. But not all of it. So spill, or guts will fly.
Sounds good to me.
Uzi, don't you think you're being a bit too forward with them? They've done nothing wrong to us so far. Why not just ask nicely?
Ugh, fine. Can you please tell us about yourself?
First of all, thank you for treating me well, good sir. And second, my name is Yeetmaster. Yes, I made the name when I was 11. Like you have any right to laugh, Dark X Wolf 17?
What was that?
Nothing! Anyhow, this may sound like the stupidest thing in the world, but one long-winded explanation later. And the solver was after me because it wanted to destroy my world too. But I don't know how I even got here in the first place, let alone how to get back home. So yeah, not exactly having the best time here. But hey, you guys have been the best thing that's happened so far, so I guess that's good.
You really expect us to believe that? How stupid do you think we are?
Oh yeah? Why not try that consciousness transfer you did on Brayden or these two? You can probably do a weird memory link like Sin did and find that I'm telling the truth.
How did you?
Listen, I can do this all day. Just take my word for it. As stupid as it sounds that you guys are fictional characters where I'm from, that's just how it is. I don't know how this happened, and I do not want to go digging as to why, but I'm not gonna continue hiding and living some phony life where I'm not authentically me. So please, take my word for it. For both our sanities.
Did you even consider, like, what did you even hear? No sense. What does he think he is? What? I don't know how it makes sense. It probably doesn't. I'm not shaking his goddamn hand. What do you think you're doing? Well, you haven't been a threat to us yet. And you do seem to know more about us than we thought. So we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. On one condition, that you'll answer any of our questions with full honesty. We need to know that we can trust you with all the information you have. Do we have a deal?
Oh, pfft. A deal like that is about as easy as you saying, "Bite me." Consider it done.
Wow, he really does know a lot about you, Uzi.
Ugh, bite me.
Alright, now that we're all on the same page, Miss V, can you kindly let me down?
Let him down, V.
Ugh, fine.
Ow! Thanks, Ann.
No biggie.
Before we leave, I just have one more question to ask you.
Sure, what's up?
You said we're all fictional characters in the world you're from, yes?
Yes, that is true.
Then, who's your favorite character out of the three of us? And answer honestly!
What? What? Why me? Are you sure you're talking about the same drone here?
I'm 100% sure. You've been the center of two of the biggest moments for me as a fan of the show. When you sacrificed yourself at that elevator shaft over there, and when you came back to fight Jay and Sin. This is gonna sound weird, but I completely thought you were dead when you were surrounded by those sentinels. Seeing you accept your fate and give that final salute, it really moved me emotionally. Then seeing you come back to the fight after almost a year of believing that, it was ethereal. And I'm not the only one. Back where I'm from, many other people resonate and appreciate you for simply being you. Same for you two as well. You all mean a lot to us, despite not being real to us. So, if any of you feel that you're not good enough, that life's just punching down and not letting you catch a break, just know that there will always be someone on the other side of the screen who will forever be in your corner. The fact I'm here is proof of that. I meant what I said earlier, V. I was so worried that I might have caused some sort of butterfly effect that could have ended up with you gone. So, to quote Uzi, I'm really glad you're not dead.
Damn, you really are a weirdo.
Heh, born and raised. Think she'll be okay?
Yeah, she probably needs some time to process everything. I think all of us do.
You can say that again. We're gonna head back to Outpost 3. Wanna come with?
Nah, I'm gonna stay here. Just swoop by if you need me for anything. I've always wanted to live on the set of my favorite episode.
Gonna have to get used to that. Well, see you around, or something.
Bye, Yeet Master!
See you later, guys! Man, what a day. I think it's about time I get some rest. But before that, I'd like to thank everybody who helped me make this whole project in the first place. Their names should be on screen right now. Seriously, you guys are the best for helping this whole thing become a reality. This was an absolute joy to work on, and I'd love to make more. Just give it another summer. Probably. Maybe, I don't know, I'll figure it out as I go. Anyway, that's probably enough out of me. Have a good night, everyone, and Yeet Master out.
Radia, I miss you so much, Radia. What? Who for art thou?